Oh, we're live. We're back once again. Ah! Part 3. Why not? Ba-bum, ba-bum. Let's see who arrives. Ooh, good beer. One person. Hello, one person. Hello, Dawson. How are you? I know I was only on yesterday doing a Q&A, but you know, yesterday's Q&A really did cheer me up after feeling low. So I thought, you know what? I appreciate you guys. Let's do another one. Let's do part 3 of the February live Q&A. Hi, Jermaine. Yeah, not bad. Just come back from the movies. I went to see the film The Monkey. I'll let you know how it is with the review. So that's coming. Yeah, not too bad. Just in the process of getting a job. So got a job interview booked on Thursday. So fingers crossed for that one. How are you guys? Oh, Casino Royale. I hope you're watching the 06 one, not the spoof one. Oh, the spoof one is a mess. But the Daniel Craig one is so much better. 54 one is also not very good in my eyes. Casino Royale. And today we have a beer. He's gonna save the world at Casino Royale. Da-da. Wow. Ba-da-ba-ba-bum, we're fighting for our lives. I do like that song, actually. It's quite an entertaining song, to be fair. There's 4 people here, and I've had 1 question so far. I'm sure more of you will join in a moment, but yeah, I know I did a Q&A yesterday, but like I said, I'm in a somewhat different mood than I was yesterday, so I feel like I owe it to you guys because people love the Q&As, and I only tend to do 1 a month at most. Sometimes I skip them quite a while, so yeah, this is me giving something back. So make the most of it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jermaine. Yeah, it's yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I do live with my parents, so I've got some stability in that regard. But yeah, it's when you're 28 and you want to progress in your life, it's sort of sucks. But fingers crossed, we'll get there. Like I said, I've got an interview on Thursday. We'll see. Why does Trolls Band Together fan bash someone's opinions? Because he's a fucking twit. That's why. Alex is an asshole. He's a bully. I don't like him. I've never liked him, and I'm going to be upfront about that. The way he bullies people for disagreeing with his opinion. He'll attack someone who says Trolls is bad. He'll attack someone who has a different opinion on anything. He's a fucking waste of space. I'm not going to rant on him too much, but I just think he's toxic. Whether he has to deal with some kind of autism or not, whatever. If that's the case, fine. That's what he has to deal with. But there's, everyone, autistic or not, should have a concept of right or wrong, and he just doesn't. He's a moron, and he owes a lot of people an apology. So the sooner he apologizes and changes his ways, the better, because otherwise he's walking into a jail cell. I hope that answers the question. You love Chicky Little. Fair play to you, man, but I don't love it. I'm sorry. Just my opinion. But I'm glad you enjoy it. I can understand some people loving it for the dumb fun aspect, but I just think it's a mess, personally. And the animation has really dated in the last 20 years, in my eyes. That deserves a drink. Yeah, fucking aliens. Weird. Ugh. Oh, we have 5 people. Excellent. 5 people. Hello, people. Fantastic Four. Oh, yes, the Fantastic Four, the First Steps movie. Well, I really fucking hope so, because if it is, it would be the first good Fantastic Four movie. Because let's face it, the Fantastic Four films are kind of cursed. The 94 one was garbage. The 2005 one was all right. Like, it was passable. It was the closest we got. It was nearly good. Nearly good. It just needed its kinks ironed out. It needed to be rewritten, and it needs to have a bit more action. But the dynamic with the 4 was the best in 2005 one. Rise of the Silver Surfer was pretty bad, but the reboot was awful as well. Fan Stick was, oh god, that was awful. That was terrible. But I have hope for the first steps. The trailer looks all right, so I just hope that the 4 have a good dynamic and the script is tight. Otherwise, we're in trouble. You know, Branch Troll and Alex, they might as well marry each other. They're basically the same person. Oh, I mean, Branch Troll kisses Alex's ass. So yeah, there we are. He's a fucking idiot as well. I'm sorry. I don't want to speak ill of people, but they are 2 people I just really don't like on YouTube. Yeah, Rise of the Silver Surfer had its moments, but it was kind of dull. It was boring, and the first half of it was basically a romantic comedy, which is not good for a Fantastic Four film. And they wasted Galactus. I mean, really wasted Galactus. But yeah, have I ever seen the Scream movies? I've seen bits of them. I've not seen them all the way through. Someone did request me yesterday to review them, which maybe I'll do next Halloween or something. I know the clip of the "What's up?" Like I have a friend who jokes around about that with me, which is fun. But I'd like to watch them. I will give them a chance. Ooh, we have a Facebook message. I'll get to that later. Ooh, 2 people have left. Sorry to hear that. Maybe people are busy tonight. Maybe because yesterday was Sunday, it was a better day to do this. But what the heck? More people will come in and out as and when. So, any more questions? Mm. Mm. Yeah, Jermaine, I hope that I'm hoping Fantastic Four is going to be, well, better than Brave New World. I don't know if I did review Brave New World recently, but Marvel are kind of going through the motions at the moment. Really hope that they sort of kick themselves up the arse and realize it's quality, not quantity, and they find a bit more direction in where they're going to go. It just seems a bit lost at the moment. But I mean, I didn't mind Brave New World; it was all right, but it could have been so much more. What up? Valentine's Day. I will have to listen to that later because it's a voice message. Well, no questions. I'll happily sit here and chill and drink beer with you guys. Don't have to ask questions if you just want to chat. That's fine. Happy to do that as well. But it is a Q&A, so I'm an open book. Yeah, I didn't really want to go and see The Monkey today, but there wasn't much else out. There's not much out at the moment I haven't seen. And I'm not really interested in Bridget Jones because it's not really my type of film. But respect to people that like it. It's not for me, so I won't be reviewing that. Adam, the ultimate Whovian. Hello. Most underrated Bond film. Oh, Spectre. I might be the lone wolf in that, but I really like Spectre. Sorry to anyone who doesn't like Spectre. Oh, Adam, by the way, what's your? I know this is a Q&A for me, but what's your take on the Doctor Who situation? There's rumors that it's going to be axed. There's rumors that Ncuti is on his way out, which is a bit strange. The BBC have neither confirmed nor denied anything, so we'll wait until it's official. But there's loads of tabloids that are saying that after season 2, they're going to sort of see how it is. I think it will come down to ratings, obviously, and views on Disney Plus. I mean, I like Ncuti Gatwa, I do, but yeah, he's coming at a time when the show is struggling. So let's hope that it regains some of its popularity. Just really wanted Russell to come in and rejuvenate it, but it just, I mean, for me anyway, it feels like kind of more of the same with bits of good in there. There's definitely good, but it's just it doesn't the magic and the passion isn't there anymore, which is a real shame. Real shame. Doctor Who used to be like event television. You know, you couldn't keep people away from the TV when it was on, but now it's hard to get people to give it the time of day. It's a shame, but there we are. I mean, what are your thoughts on it, everybody, about Doctor Who? Anyone who's in the UK, anyway, would probably be more interested in Doctor Who. Oh, whoops here. Yeah, maybe Disney will say bye bye, and Russell will have to solely rely on the BBC. I don't know, or yeah, they'll move it. Maybe they'll move it again or reduce it again. Yeah, yeah. I just hope Shooty does more than three, because three is always it's always three series. You know, we need to get away from that tradition. It does make the show a bit repetitive, if I'm being honest. Uh, is there a Bond film which your opinion has changed drastically? Yes. View to a Kill has gone right down. Used to really like it, but now I just think it's all right. It's got a lot of problems. And on the flip side to that, Octopussy has gone up for me. So maybe Roger should have left with Octopussy. I'm not huge fan of Doctor Who. Fair enough. Yeah, no worries. I used to be more of a fan of Doctor Who. My interest has really gone down over the years. The show is just sort of really, it's lost my interest in a lot of ways. I'm trying. I have to force myself to watch it now. I haven't even seen the Christmas one. That was it called Joy to the World or something like that. I haven't even watched that. I've heard it's not very good, but maybe I'll give it a chance. I do like Shooty though. Yeah, he is good. Who is the most overrated Doctor? Oh, that's a good question. Who's the most overrated Doctor? Hmm. I'm gonna say this is gonna. Oh, I'm gonna get hate for this. I'm gonna say Peter Capaldi. I like Capaldi, I do, but I don't see him as one of the best Doctors, as some people proclaim him to be. I think he's very good, and he nails the darker side of the Doctor very well. But the humorous side, the comedy side, a lot of the comedy. Well, I mean, it's down to the writing as well. But the writing kind of writes Capaldi. Well, Capaldi's comedy feels like it was written for Matt Smith. Like when he's standing on the tank and doing the electric guitar, I'm like, this is cringe. It wouldn't be so bad if it was Matt Smith, because Matt Smith was, by nature, he was a goofball. His Doctor was more sort of silly. It doesn't work with Capaldi, the comedy, sadly. I'm not saying they shouldn't have made him. I'm not saying that they should have made Capaldi humorless, but it disengages me. But when he is dramatic, he is very good. But I just think, well, it's a solid effort, but I just think a lot of his predecessors made more of an impact for me personally. And sometimes his diction is hard to understand, for me anyway. But I do like the guy. I'm not trying to shit on him. I do like him, but I don't think he's as good as people say. Vengeance Most Foul. Yes, I did watch it. I thought it was all right. I need to give it another watch. I found it to be a bit slow in the middle, but I'm glad it's won the awards. I'm glad it's getting recognition. And Ben Whitehead is an amazing impersonator. I will give it another chance, I think, because I know they're probably going to do another one. So, yeah, it's good that they kept the spirit of the old films going. Do you want to do directing? Yeah, I wouldn't say no. I mean, on a professional level, it would be very demanding to be a director, because it would consume my life. I wouldn't really have a work-life balance, and that's the thing. But I have directed my own films. I'm in the process of making one at the moment. So, Jermaine, if you head to my other channel, which is called Pajak Productions, there's some films on there. I'm making a sort of heist drama at the moment. It is a feature film. Most of my friends are actors, so I've been able to cast it that way. I made a feature-length James Bond movie, so check that out if you're interested to see my direction style. I mean, not everyone's gonna like my work, but hopefully you find some interest in it. I think what keeps View to Kill from the bottom. I mean, the action scenes are all right. They're decent. Some are better than others, though. I think part of that is down to Roger Moore's age. I'm going to be honest there, but yeah, Christopher Walken is a great villain, and yes, the score is very very good. One of John Barry's best, I would say. The theme for the Golden Gate fight is pretty awesome. 7 viewers. Favorite and least favorite Bond song. Ooh, favorite Bond song, Skyfall by Adele. Least favorite, Madonna's Die Another Day. Oh, ugh, that one is ear rape. I hate that song. Oh God. But if you like it, that's fine. Your opinion. Oh, it's good. Woo! Sorry, I'm waiting for questions. Oh yeah, you know my name. Very good choice. Very good choice. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell. You know, amazing, amazing singer. It really fits with the gritty tone of Casino Royale. That's why I really like it. They tried to follow the same thing with Quantum of Solace with Another Way to Die, but that song is so bland by comparison, which is a shame. It's a real shame. Jack White and Alicia Keys are great, but not together. It didn't really work. But never mind. It's in Amazon's hands now with Bond 26. Feel free to ask me more questions, guys. The 7 people who are watching this, keep them coming. Yesterday, there were a lot more questions. Oh, 8 people now. Hello to the 8th person that's joined this. Oh, God, yeah. Analyze this. Oh, it's such a weird song. Guess I'll die another day. There's so much more to know. Oh, and there's that weird, all that techno crap, auto-tune crap in that song. Oh, it's just horrible. Favorite character in Frontiers of Pandora? Oh, good question. Oh, it's difficult because most of the characters are very similar. To be honest, if I have to be brutally honest, the story of Frontiers of Pandora is very messy. I don't really understand it. But one character I like is the Sahik of the clan that I met. I can't remember the name of the clan, but they're the clan that sort of helped me fly the Ikran. I think her name's Nefika or Nefaka or something like that. She's a bit like Moat from the movies, but she's a Sahik of another clan. Probably her, because she's quite friendly. The rest of the characters are just sort of there. I kind of just think Frontiers of Pandora is better just for the open world experience. The story is dull, to be honest, but that's just me. Steve, no, you can ask me, Steve, whatever it was. A movie from your least favorite genre that you like? Oh, good question. I don't know if I have a least favorite genre. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what my least favorite genre is. One that I don't watch as avidly. Rom-coms, and I really did like the film Sliding Doors. That was very good, just from a storytelling idea. It took the whole romantic comedy formula and it kind of spun it on its head, and with the dual narratives, I thought that was kind of cool. It was a good concept. The story was what you would expect, but the way it was presented was interesting. Do you have a favorite biopic docudrama film? That's a good question. Well, the ones about the celebrity singers, based on those, which one is my favorite? Potentially Rocket Man is my favorite of those ones, because that one also felt a bit more like a musical as well. Um, in terms of like celebrity singer ones, I'm not too sure. Don't think I've seen enough of them. But historical piece films are also kind of cool as well. Like 12 Years a Slave is pretty realistic and harrowing. But based on the biopic docu films that I've seen, based on the singers, I'll go with Rocket Man as my favorite to that. I don't have a favorite sort of type beyond that. I don't think I've seen enough of them, really. Are you more of a dog or cat person? Oh, cat person. Hey, Stephen, who's your favorite movie composer? Oh, good choice. Well, John Williams is the obvious choice. So after John Williams, oh, I've got a few, and it's hard to sort of decide. I mean, Howard Shore is one of my favorites, just for Lord of the Rings. That's just amazing. Michael Giacchino also. Yeah, I mean, he gets around. You know, there's quite a few. There's like Alan Silvestri as well. James Newton Howard is one of my favorites. I don't know if like anyone goes above John Williams. I'll say John Williams, but if I were to do a ranking, there'd be a fair few iconic ones in there. um, Can you review Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? It's a standalone sci-fi horror film. Is that the Season of the Witch with Nicolas Cage, or is that? Oh no, sorry. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I can give it a go. Yeah, potentially I can review it. What would you say live action remakes are the worst modern blockbusters? Some of them. I don't think all of them are that terrible. I think there are some that you can say aren't as bad. Collectively, no. I think there are one or two that are decent. But yeah, in terms of Disney ones, yeah, the reason why they're there is pointless. And a lot of them do tend to be very disappointing. That's, I mean, there are other modern blockbusters that aren't remakes that are just shit. So yeah, there's loads out now that is lackluster. Put it that way. Yeah, I mean, if Spielberg was to direct the next one, I'd give it a watch. Especially as a lot of people are already dismissing Amazon. So, you know, if they get a big director like Spielberg, then that's instantly going to bring some notoriety, isn't it? So, I mean, if they want to get Spielberg, I'd say get him now. Get him as soon as possible because he's not getting any younger. No offense to him, he's not getting any younger. So, it would be good. Which movie actors, actresses would you love to meet in person? I'd love to meet Andy Serkis in person. He's a great inspiration for me. He's a fantastic voice actor. I'd also love to meet Ariana Grande for the same reason, and also because of Wicked, and because she's so good at impressions. Yeah, I'd love to know what more she could do and advice about that. And any of the Harry Potter cast as well, because I grew up watching them, like Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, those kind of people. But to pick one would be Andy Serkis, because that man is so fucking talented beyond belief. Who would you like to sing the next Bond song? You. I'm only joking. For years I've always said I've wanted Michael Bublé to sing the next Bond song, but you know what? Given that Wicked has just come out, I reckon they might go with Ariana Grande. They might well ask Ariana Grande to do it if they get the next film out within a year or two. I think she could do it. I mean, she's got freaking amazing vocals, so why not? I mean, they got someone totally out of the blue like Billie Eilish, who everybody thought, what the hell? She's not a Bond artist. And then, look, No Time to Die turned out to be a pretty good song, which won an Oscar. So, yeah, well, whoever they choose, it will be someone current. And my money's on Ariana Grande. I think they'll ask her. Thoughts on Sonic's... Oh, sorry, I thought you said Sonic's sunglasses, as in Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic's sunglasses from Doctor Who Series 9. It's just a gimmick. They're not terribly awful, but they're not terribly good either. They're basically just sunglasses. It's someone that has added a sound effect in post production. It's it's nothing offensive, but it's just a gimmick. What's your most anticipated film coming out this year? Well, I think as I said yesterday, it's a joint favorite between Avatar: Fire and Ash and Wicked for Good, or Wicked Part 2, whatever you want to call it. Go, Adam, go. Also, the Simpsons movie. Good question. I will do a proper review of it at some point, but it's not as good as the show. The story is surprising in that you don't really expect the Simpsons movie to tell this kind of story about the environment and how Homer's actions led to the pollution of Springfield. I don't know if they were trying to be preachy with the environmental message, But I do think the film is funny. It has a lot of laughs. The story is it's quite bizarre. For The Simpsons, it's quite bizarre. Um, but I like the emotional, father-son stuff with Homer and Bart, and with Marge. And the scene with the tape where she says goodbye to him is very powerful, actually. That's really good. But yeah, most of the gags about Spider Pig were ruined in the trailer, sadly. But yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoy it, but I definitely prefer watching the show. I think the show peaked in like from season 3 to season 10. That's the best for me. 1 and 2, they were still working out the animation style and the voices, and then from like 10 to 20, it was sort of all right. But my sort of feeling with The Simpsons, as soon as the animation got better, the writing got worse. So when you get to season 20 and the animation gets higher quality, just skip the rest of it. It's just, I mean, I'm sure there's some good ones in there, but I just found it got tired personally. But that's just me. What would you like to see Iron Man do for the next Wallace and Gromit short or film? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, would they ever make Gromit talk? That's one plot. I'm sure there's some ideas. Trying to think. Maybe Wallace and Gromit go to the beach, go on holiday, or something like that. That would be kind of fun. Or Wallace tries to, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like that. Favorite SpongeBob song? The rock version of Goofy Goober from the movie, the first movie, which plays at the end of the film. I enjoyed that. That was kick-ass. Oh, good question, Steve. If you had a movie choice to wake up to, which one would it be? Well, Lord of the Rings, of course. Toy Story 5 or Shrek 5, which one are you most anticipated for? I'm going to say Shrek, just for the just to give it the edge. But neither, really. If I had the choice to say neither, I'd say neither. But if you're forcing a gun to my head, Shrek 5 by a margin. Neither of them are necessary, but I think there's more you could do with Shrek 5 than Toy Story 5, personally. Favorite redemption arc in a film? Oh, it's a good question. Oh God, that is a very good question. I'm trying to think of one. I'm gonna say, you know what I'll say? I'll say Caesar in War for the Planet of the Apes, because he goes through a emotional ordeal with losing his family, and then he goes dark and he goes down a path of vengeance, and he nearly loses himself so much that he almost turns his own clan against him, and then he manages to restore, their faith in him. He tries to save them, and then through the little girl Nova, she helps restore his faith in humanity by saving him. So he doesn't let go of his hate in the end, and also he doesn't kill the Colonel as well. So I think that is probably the best for me that I can think of. Would Glinda be your crush of last year? How did you know? To be fair, both Cynthia and Ariana are beautiful. But yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't slightly have the hots for Ariana Grande, but then who doesn't? She is beautiful and very talented. Could an image of all Bond actors surfing on tsunami kill your eyes? That's a bizarre question that I never expected to get. I'm well, I don't know. When you say kill my eyes, as in like shock me, not quite sure what you mean. If you mean like, would it surprise me? Would it shock me? Probably. Yeah. Sorry, that was a very bizarre question. J.K. Rowling or J.R. Tolkien? It's difficult because I love them both for their creative work, but J.K. Rowling has she has said some nasty things to. Well, I know she didn't probably intend to upset people, but she has upset people. J.R. Tolkien's legacy, when he was alive, he didn't, as far as I know, he wasn't mean to anyone in that regard. I'd probably say J.R. Tolkien. I mean, because The Lord of the Rings are my favorite films of all time, and he created them. He created the stories, so As much as I love Harry Potter and what she gave us, I have to give the slight edge to J.R. Tolkien. Third in a row. Yeah, I mean it's I just felt like it for some reason. Um, yeah, no worries. I will get to your Instagram message soon. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to look at it. I was traveling home. Saddest ending from a film you've ever seen? Oh God, I'm sure there's a few. Well, Caesar in War for the Planet of the Apes when he dies, that's very sad. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King always gets me with Frodo leaving to the Undying Lands. The Grey Haven scene is fucking powerful. That is very sad. That does nearly get me. And A Monster Calls. That was one film that I cried my eyes out at that when the little boy lost his mother. Oh my god, to cancer. I mean, we knew she was going to die. It was set up from the beginning, but oh my god, I went to see that in the cinema. I'd never come out crying so much. I was like, oh my god, that was so sad. Oh yeah, but I don't mind films that make me cry. I'm all for a film to do that because I like the power of emotion in film. I think it's beautiful. And in more recent years, We Live in Time, uh, which I'm not going to spoil the ending, but again, I kind of knew it was coming, but at the same time, it was handled so beautifully that it was hard not to shed tears. Oh, if you're a citizen of Middle Earth, would you be human, elf, dwarf, or hobbit? Ooh, I'd love to be a dwarf, although I'm too tall in real life to do that. So I guess the obvious choice is human, but if I had the choice, dwarf, because they're just tough. Which Navi clan would you rather be in? A Metkaya or Metkaina? I'm going to say Metkaina. Oh, sorry, the one. Yeah, sorry. I apologize. Hello, Mr. Araverse. Yeah, no, I will. I will message you back. When I've done with this, I'll message you back. What would you do for the story if you're making a sequel to Dinosaur? Oh, good question. I love Dinosaur. I think it's a great film, underrated. Well, now that they've found the nesting grounds, maybe I'd have a story where they go to rescue other herds and bring them to their nesting grounds. So I guess it'd be sort of similar in some regards, but maybe they go and search for other life to come to them. Um, Maybe the Carnotaurs try to get revenge on them again. I don't know. Um, I wouldn't want to have the theme of the sort of hardcore survival thing too much, but I think exploring new herds and new species of dinosaur would be cool. Um, Traveling across to sort of bring some more back. That would be kind of fun. Favorite Mario game that you've played? Not played many of them. Mario Kart on the Wii, I guess. That one I enjoyed. I did have Mario on Game Boy Advance as a kid, which I did enjoy. So those two. Return of the King. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how true the films are to the books. Obviously, I mean, other than The Hobbit, because I've read The Hobbit, and obviously they divided it into three. But in terms of Lord of the Rings, yeah, I know that they changed the ending in the film because the villains and the orcs ended up destroying the Shire, and Jackson and co felt that it was anticlimactic because we just had the whole quest and then destroying the ring, and it was unnecessary. And I totally get why they made the change, and it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Um, I guess Tolkien just didn't like finishing books, just didn't like endings. But there we are. Favorite song from The Lion King? Oh, it's a good question. I would say, for the sheer power, probably Circle of Life. But I do love Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It's a beautiful love song. But I'm going to go with Circle of Life because it's a fucking beautiful opening. I remember seeing the stage show in London and I almost cried my eyes out after the first scene because it was so beautifully done and all the animals, like the puppetry and the backdrops, the cloths, like the set. I mean, I would see the show again if I could. It was beautifully done, so well done. Yeah, well, I heard that Saruman was supposed to die at the end of the Two Towers in the movies. I thought that he died at the end of the Two Towers book. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I remember hearing. But I didn't mind that they put him in the extended cut of Return of the King at the beginning and resolved that as an opening, because it made sense, because it set up Return of the King with the oncoming armies that were going to Minas Tirith. It just preluded Pippin getting the Palantir. But it still worked in the theatrical cut by leaving that scene out and then Pippin just finding the Palantir. It still worked just as fine, but who doesn't want to watch Christopher Lee? You know. What new dinosaur would you most want to see in Primeval? Back. Ooh. Well, if you talk about dinosaurs, the G-Rex, yeah, that one, the one that was in the airport or the hangar bay, that was one of my favorites. Most disappointing fantasy film, The Golden Compass, without question. Oh my god, what a waste of potential! Such a shame that film. It's a really good film struggling to get out. It starts out well in the first act and then it falls apart in the second and third acts. It's a total mess of a film, which is a real shame. Well acted, well performed, but you can tell that was a film that had a lot of problems. It's a shame. The show is much better. Yes, he was supposed to be Gandalf, but Jackson and co said, no, we want Ian McKellen as Gandalf, so we got for you Saruman. In the end, it worked very well, and that's why he was very happy to do The Hobbit, because he could play Saruman as a good guy, so that made up for it. Hello, Electric Dino. The best is favorite lightsaber duel. Sorry, I missed that question. Oh well, I mean, a lot of people say the Phantom Menace one, and that's definitely one of my favorites because of the music and the choreography and everything. It's perfect. Even though this one is very long, I think just emotionally it hits more, and that's Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. I know it's a long fight and it goes on for a while, but I always loved the visual imagery of them fighting in this sort of volcanic area of lava. And it is an epic fight. It is long. Perhaps it's too long, but the music is awesome and the emotion is brilliant. Actually, one of the times when the dialogue wasn't that bad. So credit to George for actually improving in that department. I mean, the Phantom Menace one just fucking kicks ass. It's so cool. But that one in Revenge of the Sith, despite there's so many lightsaber fights in Revenge of the Sith, that one manages to hold up the emotional impact. So for nothing else, George may not have done the setup very well with the first two prequels, but with the third one, he definitely stuck the landing in the best way he could at the time. So, well done, George. Who could play Dumbledore in the HBO show? I thought they'd already cast John Lithgow. Yeah, I thought they already announced it. Favorite scene or line from Connor in Primeval? Ooh, trying to think back to some of his lines. I think one line which is in series 4, I think, when he comes back with Abby, and he's like, "You can sack me, but you can't stop me from finishing Cutter's work." That's one I like. And obviously when he declares his love for Abby in series 2, when she's hanging from the edge of the cliff, and he's like, "Because I love you." That was obviously very sweet. Yeah, I haven't seen Primeval for a while. Remember some more lines. There's probably other ones as well, but those are the ones that I can remember. Thoughts on the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer? I think I did answer this yesterday, but I'll answer it again. It was all right. Yeah, it looks like more of the same. So I hope the characters and the plot are sort of interesting, but Jurassic World is potentially getting a bit tired now, so we'll see how well they do with it. I'll give it a chance, but I wasn't overly impressed. Favorite Transformer design from the Transformers movies? Probably Bumblebee's design from the Bay films. I like that. Yeah, I know you've been commenting on my classic reviews, and thank you for that. Sorry I haven't replied to all of them. It's been very busy, but Yeah, it's a big commitment watching all that Doctor Who, and especially reviewing it. I've definitely needed breaks from it. It's, your motivation definitely goes up and down, especially the amount of time it takes to do even just one review. But if you're just watching, then that's different. Yeah, but the classic series is definitely a journey worth going on. So stick at it. Has Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes gone up in your enjoyment, or has it gone down? It's stayed the same. My thoughts are, I think it's good. I enjoy it. I don't love it. I don't think it's perfect, but it's a solid enough follow up to War for the Planet of the Apes, and I like the ideas in it. I think it's a little bit too long. It does take its time too much in places, and um, I think the Proximus character could have been in it more, but I did enjoy it for what it was. I just don't think it's fantastic. A real world event or person you'd like to see a movie made about? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there was. I don't know if this has come out yet, but there was a film that was going to be made about Boris Johnson. I think. Well, I think Kenneth Branagh was supposed to play him. I don't know if it was about Brexit or something, but yeah. But I don't know. I think there's been enough films about COVID to last us a lifetime. Um, I mean, if there was a film about Donald Trump, I'd be semi-interested in that because of his re-election. But if Trump is the downfall after this at some point, I think it'd be good to see how a film retells that. But then again, I'm not really that fast. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Do you prefer Godzilla films to be darker or more light-hearted? I'll say darker. Um, I mean, the new like MonsterVerse movies sort of blend the two tones together. They tried to make the human characters the more light-hearted ones, and then they have obviously the fight scenes, which is what the films are made for. A bit of both is fine, but I don't think the humor has really worked all that well for the newer movies. So I would say I'll lean more towards darker. Yeah, I mean David Tennant's era, I flew through that because I love David Tennant. He's my Doctor, so it's the one I grew up with. So there we are. Wes Ball is going to come back. Yeah, I heard he's coming back, which is good. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I don't know if it's been announced. Someone said it might be Empire of the Planet of the Apes. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'm looking forward to the sequel. I know it's a new trilogy, so we'll see. I mean, apparently the plan from Disney is to have it as three trilogies. Obviously, we've got the first trilogy already, Rise, Dawn, and War. And we're going to have this next trilogy, and then I think they want to do another one. I don't know if that's true, but see, I think they're kind of ignoring the first five films from the old days, and the Tim Burton one is, well, doesn't exist in my opinion. What color lightsaber would you have? Oh, question. This sounds ridiculous. I'd love to have a multicolored lightsaber, like a rainbow lightsaber. That would be so fucking cool. Favorite Davy Jones scene? Oh, good question. Love Davy Jones. It's a toss up between the Liar's Dice scene in Dead Man's Chest or the scene where he's talking to Calypso in At World's End, where he's in the cell and she touches him and we see his true form. And he's got her by the neck. And he's like, "What fate have you planned for your encounter?" But then also the duel with Jack is cool. There's so many good moments. And when he plays the organ with his tentacles, brilliant. And also when he makes the bosun, well, he makes Bootstrap Bill whip his own son. I mean, that's evil. Fucking hell. But he's such a fascinating character. There's so many scenes. It's so hard to choose a favorite. It's a good question, though. It's the hardest assignment you've ever done. Um, I would say my dissertation, which is like the massive long essay that you do at the very end of uni, because my one had to be linked to my final film. Because my last module in uni was a final project, which is a dissertation essay and a film. So I made a film, which is on my other channel called Muted, and the idea of the film was to blend spoken and silent film together and find a way for the two formats to merge. That was the idea behind my dissertation. I wanted to explore a subject that hadn't been done before, or at least in the way I was exploring it. It was very difficult, especially with my personal struggles. And because the essay had to be so long, I tried to break it into sections and reference where I could in the right way. It was difficult. I scraped a pass, so I passed it, but it was tough. Yeah, so I'd say think about that one in advance, because I mean I don't know what you call it in I don't know if you're from the US or not. Internationally, I think it's called like a thesis. I mean, we called it thesis, dissertation. It's the massive long fucking essay that you do at the end. Think about it in advance, because you're going to need to do a lot of research, and research is not my forte. So there we are. But good luck with the other assignment that you've got. Could Koba have been redeemed if he survived Dawn? I think so. Yeah, I think the end of Dawn almost was the catalyst for war, because it was like an unintentional prelude. The start of Caesar going dark, where he did actually kill. Obviously, he killed to save his tribe, but then in war he kills because he's vengeful. So it was almost, in a way, a bit of a precursor. So yeah, but I still think there's a chance Koba could have been redeemed. But then Caesar was trying to do that over Dawn. He was trying to tell him that there are other ways to deal with things, but Koba was too hateful. So, but then I guess that's the point, because in the third film he's starting to become like Koba. So, but he realizes that, and it's just beautifully written, that trilogy. It's so good. Don Lithgow, Adam Driver as Snape. He'd be a bit young, I think, but he'd look the part, to say the least. Oh yeah, the Maze Runner films. I've not seen them, but yeah, I've heard he did well. He is a good director. So yeah, I will give the next Apes film a chance. And obviously it ends on a sort of, not a cliffhanger, but ends on an open note to be continued. So yeah, looking forward to it. Max Soren in A View to a Kill, my favorite line. Are you primarily interested in stamina or speed? Or, ha! You amuse me, Mr. Bond. What else does he say? What else? Go get him. Go! Oh, Mayday, we'll provide you with a drink. It's a good scene, even though if it is a bit like Goldfinger. Have you seen Monsters at Work? I've seen the first season. It was all right. I mean, not much really happened in it. It was what it says on the tin. There wasn't much of a story. I didn't care a lot for the characters, but it was cute. I haven't watched season 2, but I'm not really a fan of Monsters University either. I like the original Monsters Inc. a lot, especially Roz. Wazowski, you forgot to file your paperwork. This office is now closed. Roz is so funny. Well, isn't that nice? Thoughts on Kylo Ren after the sequel trilogy? I think he's a decent character. Definitely could have been improved with the writing had the writers written a consistent thread of the 3 films. But Adam Driver did a good job with the performance, even though aspects of him do feel a bit like a rehash of Vader. I know he's his grandson, but still, it does feel like the mask and everything was basically, it was a bit too on the nose, I thought, at times. But the performance was good. He did his best with the material. 200 years, they discovered the dinosaur iguanodon. Oh, really? Yeah, because I love iguanodons. After seeing the film Dinosaur, they're my favorite breed of dinosaur. I love them. No one talks about them that much. I used to like. I mean, I'm not a fan of museums, but whenever there was dinosaur stuff, I used to be interested in that. And dinosaur fossils are just fascinating. But iguanodons, I love the way they look. No, that's fine, Dino, but I don't say specifically where I'm from either. Well, obviously, I'm from England from my accent, but I try to keep a little bit close to the chest when it comes to YouTube. But no, that's fair enough. Saddest moment from Wallace and Gromit. Oh, good one, good one. I think Curse of the Were Rabbit when Wallace is he's saying, "Oh, I don't want to be a giant rabbit." I mean, that was actually, I mean, even though it was kind of funny, it was also a bit sad because he realised he didn't want to turn himself into a monster. So, the bounce has gone from his bungee. Although I did like in the new film where they were hanging off the edge of the train track, and he said, "I can live without inventing, but I can't live without my pal," or something like that. I don't remember the exact dialogue, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen Vengeance Most Foul. Job well done, lad. Anything else? Oh, that's great to hear. I don't actually remember if I saw Dinosaur in the cinema. I might have done, but I was only 3 years old when it came out, so it's very unlikely. But the earliest memories I have of it are watching the VHS tape with my sister. We used to have the film on VHS tape many years ago. Now it's on Disney Plus in much higher quality, but yeah, it was fun. I remember some days after school I would watch it quite a lot. I did watch it a lot. Um, it was just great. It was great. Yes, the stop motion animation is an art form. It's painstaking but rewarding at all the same time. And I think Aardman they're just experts. If I got to meet Nick Park for a day, I'd love to have a go. I did attempt a stop motion film when I went to my first college. The animation is very rough, but I had great fun doing it. But it was very hard. It took a few months to finish it, but I love doing it. Love to have another go at it at some point. But making the clay models, that's something I've not done though. But yeah, it's an art form that I think become more prominent now because of Vengeance Most Foul. Uh, should the Guardians of the Galaxy return in the future? I think, well, they've set the new team up. So if you watch the end of the third film, there's a post-credit scene where Rocket and Groot are leading the new team. So I'm happy for that team to return, but the original team is done, and I think it was good that they ended with that trilogy. I actually really like Guardians 3. I think it's actually my favorite of the three now. Um, Although it is very dark. It's dark compared to the first two. Whereas the first one is so much fun. The second one is also good, but might be the weakest. But yeah, the third one is quite emotional as well. One of the best villains of the MCU by far. Uh, oh god, yeah, no, Dinosaur has some really depressing scenes. Like the asteroids meteor scene is very harrowing for a kids movie. It's very harrowing, and then the cave sequence with the Carnitals is also pretty freaky. There's a lot of gritty fight scenes in the movie. Obviously, they're quite tame because aiming for kids, but they push the boundaries of Dinosaur. It was a gritty story about survival, and I like that. It was edgy. Oh yeah, the original Planet of the Apes is great. I rank it fourth behind the reboot trilogy. I put it at number four. It is very good. It's easily the best of the original movies, and I take it over Kingdom as well. But I just think the new trilogy really is a masterpiece. But that's just me. What would you do if you were to rewrite the Joel Schumacher Batman films? I would first of all tone it up and keep the tone that the Tim Burton films were, um, and maybe it'll certainly in Batman and Robin remove one of the villains and just have one villain. I actually know in both because they both have two villains each. Forever has the Riddler and Two Face. I'd just have one of them, and same with Batman and Robin. I'd have either Mister Freeze or Poison Ivy. I wouldn't have both because it doesn't really make sense how they can team up and have both their goals because she wants a green world and he wants to freeze everything. So what the fuck? It's nonsensical. But whatever. Anything you'd like to see in Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4? Hmm, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a clean slate, really, because MJ and Ned don't remember him now, and he's no longer part of the Avengers because of what he did. Um, so a new set of characters from the Spider-Man lore, like maybe Black Cat could be in it. That would be nice. Felicia, be good to see her in it. Um, Dr. Connors, the Lizard. I mean, if they do him properly this time, or maybe have different villains. I don't know if they will put Venom in there. If they do, I certainly would give it a watch, and I'm sure Tom Hardy would be up for that. So we'll see. I don't know. I like the idea of a clean slate going forward. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Bane from Batman and Robin. Yeah, I would agree with that. All he was doing was good. Bane. Whereas at least in the Dark Knight Rises, he had a bit more menace to him. Yeah, he's not the Joker, and the voice took a bit of time to get used to, but he's ultimately a lot more physically threatening, and the design is, well, it's more basic, but it's more realistic. So yeah, it works so much better in the Dark Knight Rises. Saddest moment from the Tennant era of Doctor Who. Oh, probably when Donna lost her memory. That was the saddest. Either that or Tennant's regeneration was very sad. Some people say it's overindulgent, but I think it's just right. I think it's earned because of how popular he was and how good he was in my eyes. Harry and Norman Osborn. Yes, thank you. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Harry and Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 4. Yes, it's about time we had that. I think. And say the Dane DeHaan version was a bit of a miscast in my eyes. I liked James Franco though, and Willem Dafoe in the Tobey Maguire trilogy. But yeah, was it Chris Cooper and Dane DeHaan in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 were, yeah, they weren't used very well. I mean, Dane DeHaan's such an intense actor. I thought he was a bit too intense for Harry Osborn. How would you improve Doctor No? I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's the first one. The story is very meat and potatoes. I probably would introduce the villain a bit sooner, and I would probably have a song instead of the Bond theme. Maybe have an original song. I don't know. Um, Other than that, I'm not too sure. It's pretty solid. I'd take out the tarantula scene. It's probably not necessary to have that. What would your ranking of Primeval Series 2 to 5 on seeing different versions of them each, depending on if the prior one had some story changes? Not quite sure what you mean. Well, I can rank the 5 series that I've seen in order of personal preference. I'm not quite sure when you mean seeing different versions of them. I'm not sure what you mean. I'll have to talk more about it on Instagram. But the ranking would be at the bottom, Series 5, then Series 4, then Series 3, then Series 1, and Series 2. That's how I rank them. Funniest moment with John Sim as the Master. Yeah, I mean, I answered it yesterday, but it's fine. When he's dancing to "I Can't Decide Whether You Should Live or Die." Great. Oh yeah, no, I wasn't suggesting they bring James Franco back. I was just mentioning that I liked him as Harry Osborn, but damn, all these good actors that turn out to be horrible people. Have you watched the TV show Cobra Kai or the Karate Kid movies? I've not seen Cobra Kai. I think I watched the original Karate Kid many years ago. Didn't see the remake. I heard it was actually decent, to be fair. Um, yeah, I'd give the other ones a watch. Favorite Jack Nicholson Joker moment? Oh God, I've not seen that film in a long time. Probably his first reveal, I guess. I'll go with that because that's all I can remember. Woo! There's been so many versions of the Joker now. Yeah. Although Joker Folie à Deux, big disappointment. Big disappointment. Such a shame. Such a shame. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. Great talent that was wasted. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it wasn't a remake. I've not seen it, so I wouldn't know. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I guess it's the Karate Kid 3. I mean, they just called it the Karate Kid, so yeah. Well, fair enough. Good for them. Name one good thing about Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. The makeup. It's the best thing about it, easily. Yeah, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Monkey Rave. Oh, it's really bad. If you've not seen it, I wouldn't recommend it. Oh, it's so bad. Would you rank all the main Batman themes from film franchise worst to best? Oh, okay. Got to think back. So there's the Tim Burton films, which is the Danny Elfman theme. Then there's Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. I think they've got the same theme. I'm not too sure. Obviously the Hans Zimmer ones, and then the Batman Part One, which is the Michael Giacchino theme. Okay, not going to include Adam West. Yeah, it's just no point. So my least favorite themes would be Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. I'm going to rank them together because I don't know if they're the same theme or not. I remember the Batman and Robin one. I think that's all it did. Then it'd probably be the Batman. What goes dong, 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 dong. The Michael Giacchino one, which is still really good, but not as good as the other ones for me. Then I would go the Hans Zimmer one from the Dark Knight trilogy. Sometimes, whenever I watch The Dark Knight, I have to listen to that music in the credits, so I watch the credits. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. And then, of course, the Danny Elfman theme is the most iconic. Which I don't know if that came in with Batman or Batman Returns, but that is my favorite one. Favorite Merry and Pippin moment. That's a good question. I'm gonna say in terms of like funny moment, the fireworks scene in Fellowship of the Ring, but in terms of like strong character moment, the last march at the end, like the Isengard, storming Isengard in the two towers. For them, when they were working together to defeat evil, was just great. Cringiest moment from Batman and Robin. Oh God, there's so many. The back credit card is probably one of the most cringy. But Mr. Freeze, any moment with him is pretty bad. Allow me to break the ice. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. So fucking bad. Poor Joel Schumacher felt like he had to apologize for his own film. Oh dear. Elliot's Goldenthal School. I don't remember that one. Which of the films did he compose? Do you have favorite episodes from Batman the Animated Series? No, because I haven't seen it, I'm afraid. Which character had the most wasted potential in Primeval? Oh, good question. So many. You could argue all of them in Series 3. I think Sarah Page, actually. I'm going to go with Sarah Page as the most wasted because she was set up in Series 3 as like the next big companion, and she had a lot of knowledge about history and artifacts, and I would have loved to have seen them explore the friendship with her and Cutter a bit more as the series went on, and they just kind of underused her as the series went on. She was just sort of there, which was a shame. Whereas she could have done a lot more of like the research into the artifacts and stuff. So Layla Rouse is a good actress and did her best, but again, the writing just let her down, which is a shame. Series 3, used to be one of my favorites, but now I'm very mixed on it. It's very uneven. It's in the middle. Like parts of it are really good, and then there's other parts which are not so good, and it's such a mess. It's such a mess of a overarching story, but it is entertaining. So it's still better than 4 and 5 based on that, because it still feels like the original Primeval show. But yeah, the writing went all over the place. Just such a shame. Have you seen the Beatles movies? I saw there was. If you mean movies about the Beatles, there was one documentary that was released in cinema during lockdown, which was actually directed by Peter Jackson, which is about the Beatles concert, I think. Yeah, it was like a rooftop concert or something. That was cool. The film, I saw the film yesterday as well. No, as in the film called Yesterday, about the Beatles music with Hamish Patel. Didn't really get the film, to be honest. The Danny Boyle film. I mean, it was well done, but I didn't understand what the point of it was. To be honest, it left me confused. But yeah, thoughts on The Lion Guard? I haven't seen it, but one of my friends has seen it and has told me about some of the story, and it does sound interesting. But I haven't seen it because I think I'm too old for it. But maybe I'll watch it because it will be better than the remakes that have come out recently. I haven't seen Monty Python or Life of Brian. Sorry. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Actually, speaking of Danny Elfman, Jermaine, Danny Elfman's Batman theme, probably one of the best themes in cinema. I think it might have come in Batman Returns, but yeah, that's iconic. And they used it for the Lego game as well, which was just cute. That was a nice reference there. We'll give props to George Clooney's Batman. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, George Clooney wasn't to blame for the script. I mean, he tried his best. George Clooney just, I again felt was a bit of a miscast. I think he was too old to play Batman at the time, but he did. He sort of walked around in the suit, sort of looked like he was semi having fun, but at the same time was semi embarrassed. Like, oh, I want a car. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone. I'll cancel the pizzas. Oh dear, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Funny, but very bad. Not seen Red Dwarf. Yeah, like I said, I've seen the first Karate Kid movie a long time ago when I was a kid, though. I'd have to watch the whole series and maybe review them. But thank you for the recommendation. Any actual good moments from Batman and Robin for you? Any scene with Michael Goff as Alfred is usually quite good. Despite the dialogue, Michael Goff's performance is the best thing about the movie. Which is sad when you think about how little he is in the movie. But yeah. Oh, Batman and Robin is such a mess. Such a mess of a film. Enjoyably messy, yes, to the point where if I had more of this, then I'd probably appreciate it more. Woo! Any actual good moment? Oh, I've already answered that. This is why Superman works alone. The next Karate Kid movie. When you say the next one, are you talking about the recent one or what, the second one? How well do you think Anakin's descent was handled? Oh, good question. I think when I think back now, because I grew up with the prequels, George had the right ideas, but the execution was not good. I think that the setup was okay. I mean, having him as a kid in the first one, Phantom Menace, fine, whatever. Despite the ropey story and script and dialogue, the relationship with his mother was handled well, and the goodbye scene in the Phantom Menace is probably the best scene in the movie outside of the lightsaber fight. Attack of the Clones was where it got messy because George was trying to established the sort of the emotional conflict of Anakin and how his emotions were affecting his judgment, and then his love for Padme was getting to him. And I think the actual downfall itself was handled okay. Some people say he turns way too quickly in Revenge of the Sith. I actually disagree. I think that it's handled quite well because Palpatine is slowly drip feeding him the bullshit as the third film goes along. But the first two is where the problems lie. So if you were to skip the first two, you'd miss the background context, but you would still get the sense that there was a close relationship with Palpatine and Anakin, and then how he would twist it. George definitely focused on it more in the right way in the third. The third is not perfect; it certainly has problems, but it's I feel like it is handled quite well. And then emotionally, they put more emphasis on the emotional effects of Anakin's deeds on the rest of the galaxy in terms of the Jedi Order falling apart, and then his marriage to Padme, and the babies, Obi-Wan Kenobi's, that relationship. So in that sense, the emotional consequences were handled well. It's just the setup and the middle were rough, I think. But again, it's probably mainly down to George and his writing, but also Hayden Christensen is, he is a pretty boy. So I think that he got a bit better in the third, but in the second film, his performance was kind of a joke, really, which was a shame. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. I mean, Jake Lloyd was a kid, and while he was kind of bad, it's not really his fault. So there we are. Favorite laughably bad line of dialogue? Oh God. Well, most of them are in Batman and Robin. I want a car. Chicks dig the car. That's why Superman works alone. Yeah, I don't know any other ones. I have to think about it. But yeah, Batman and Robin has some bad dialogue. Actually, you know what? Star Wars, Attack of the Clones. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. Not like here, where everything is soft and smooth. There's that line, and then there's, I truly, deeply love you. Oh, God, George. Oh, dear. And I don't even hate Attack of the Clones, but that is, oh, yeah, that's funny. Favorite line or moment from Lester in Primeval? I answered the favorite line question yesterday, the one where he mentions about the mammoth and Charlotte Church having a bikini wax or something like that. That was funny. Also, I like when he says Daphne and Scrappy are going to take control of the anomalies. That's funny. Favorite moment? Probably where he's fighting the future Predator in Series 2. That is pretty awesome. Also, Will Smith as a rapper. Yeah, pretty good. I'd say he's very talented, so good on him. Have you got tricked at the start of Batman 89 thinking that the couple with the child was Bruce Wayne with his parents? I'm not sure if you're joking. I'm not sure if you're joking or not. Oh, fuck. Thoughts on the Penguin in Batman Returns? Awesome villain. Very good villain. Very scary. And brilliant performance from Danny DeVito. Just utterly compelling visually. And the backstory is quite emotional. One of Tim Burton's better written films, I'd say. Branch Troll fanboy. His idea of a rant is talking with his inner voice, going, fuck this shit. Oh, this is so bad, guys. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Like, he never raises his voice. He just lazily sort of says what he says, and then, much like Alex does, he says it in like 20 seconds, and then that's it. Yeah, just kind of lazy. Biggest what the fuck moment from Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. The ape sex. Yeah, the sex scene where the I don't know who it is. The girl's on top of the guy going. It's pretty bad. Yeah, that was when I cringed. Hello, nice to see you, Daniel. What celebrity would you like to meet? I've already answered that question earlier, so I'm not gonna answer it again. I'll just say Andy Serkis as the first choice. Favorite future Predator moment from Primeval. Um, Probably where Leak dies, but also the fight at the end of series one. I think it's the Gorgon Oxid, but don't quote me on that. In episode 6. That is awesome. Are you hoping we can get a Bond film by the end of 2026? I'd love to think so, but at this rate, it might well be 2027. We'll see. It's nice that we know who's in charge now. So hopefully, now that Amazon got the reins, they can now get cracking with this. We can start to hear more soon. Branch Troll's earlier videos, he used to use a text to speech voice. Yeah, or is now he just barely talks like this. Ugh. I mean, he's a kid, but he's got a lot of growing up to do, much like Alex. This is my opinion. You like Tim Burton's remake, but even yeah, that sex scene is fucking weird. It shouldn't have happened. Such amazing makeup talent is completely wasted when you display it in a film that is so out of control, where there's no story and you can't follow what's going on. You don't care about how good it looks. I'm sorry, I just don't like it, but I'm glad that you like it. Funniest moment or line in the Venom films? Well, I don't really find them that funny, to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think there should have been comedies. I could say what one of my favorite moments was. My favorite moment, I think, was, even though I don't like the Venom films, it's probably in the third one where he rides the horse. That is pretty cool. It's cheesy, but it's pretty cool. Middle of 2027 is probably more realistic. Yeah, unless they start now and get cracking now, then maybe there's a chance. But, yeah, it's been a long time coming. I really hope that. I mean, No Time to Die was in 2021, so let's hope that we can finally get cracking and hear more about this, rather than them making additional content. We just want the next movie. That's what we want. Favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man moment so far? I would normally say the moment when the 3 Spider-Men swing into like the final battle in No Way Home, but I think I'll say, to make it more about Tom Holland, I'll say I really like the moment when Aunt May dies, and I think because of his acting, that was the moment where I started to really like Tom Holland a bit more as Spider-Man. I thought, he was quite. He was quite overrated when he first started, I thought, in Homecoming, but it took me a couple of films to sort of get into him. And by his third one, I thought, actually, yeah, he is really good, and he's proved he can handle the emotional stuff, because that's what was missing from his first 2, was not that they didn't have heart, but they didn't have that emotional punch that sort of makes the character interesting. But the third one had that. So, yeah. Yeah, the score for his Apes film is okay. I mean, it's not Danny Elfman's best score, but it's fine. Considering the mess that is that movie, it could have been a lot worse. The music is the least of the problems. Yeah, the Bond fandom is getting quite impatient. So I can't say I blame them at this point. I think going with Amazon actually will reduce the gaps quite a bit. If the next film does very well, then I think we're likely to see one every 3 years, maybe. That'd be nice, but we'll see. What about Vote Saxon 07? I didn't hear about that. No, Jared. Feel free to explain if you want. Oh, so did you buy all the other Bond films on Blu-ray or DVD? Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen them all, but I hope you enjoy them. Favorite score by James Newton Howard? Oof, good question. So many. Love his score for King Kong. in 2005. Dinosaur is a possible contender for my favorite score of his. Peter Pan score was really good. His Hunger Games music was good. I might go with Dinosaur actually. I think Dinosaur actually wins on that one. That theme is just, a great score is a score that's not only hummable but iconic. As soon as you hear it, you're like, I know it's from that film. And Dinosaur was one of those films. I think it helped that the teaser trailer was the opening scene, or a condensed version of the opening scene with that music and the main theme. The pterodactyl flies with the egg. It's just beautiful. But the rest of the music is fantastic as well. So, yeah, I'm surprised it didn't win an Oscar, to be honest. He really deserved it. But yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is your favorite. Oh, good for you. Oh, Dawn is really good. War is my favorite personally. Thoughts on Hook? Yes. I've got thoughts on Hook. I've done a proper review of it, so check out my full thoughts on this channel. Search my review. I think Hook is one of the most overrated movies of all time. It's not a bad film. It's all right. It's passable. It's way too long. It takes way too long to get going. There are some real plot holes in the film, but it is entertaining. And the concept of having an older Peter Pan isn't a bad idea, but the writing isn't perfect for me, and it is very corny in places and overly corny and whimsical, which makes it feel very cheesy. But it does have a superb soundtrack. It is a good one, but it definitely didn't need to be 2.5 hours, I'd say. Uh, hmm. Oh, okay. Well, Jared, tell me more in the group chat. I'd love to hear more about it privately. I don't know who is MM, but you're welcome to message again if you need to. But no, I get why people love Hook, but to me, it's it's a mixed bag of affairs. There's some really great acting in it, really great directing, despite the overly whimsical cheesiness. But yeah, and Robin Williams. I mean, he can do no wrong. Rest in peace. The Mel Gibson film Signs. I've not seen that film, but yeah, James Newton Howard is definitely one of my favorite composers. Favorite animated show you've seen? Well, as a kid, I loved my animated shows. Tom and Jerry was probably one of my favorites. I went through a phase of watching Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, Scooby Doo, and I think the Pink Panther animated series. They were the ones I watched quite a lot. So between those, it's a toss up between those. I'll probably go with Tom and Jerry. I had so much fun watching those. And I did watch a bit of SpongeBob as a kid, but it wasn't my favorite show. Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, I think we all watched a lot of Bond films before No Time to Die. I marathoned the Craig ones again, the first 4 Craig films before No Time to Die released, and I'm glad I did that. It was because I knew it was his last one coming out, so I thought, well, I knew the story anyway, but I just wanted to sort of, as a goodbye to Craig, sort of show more appreciation to his films. Oh, there is another Facebook message, which I will get to later. I think awesome. To answer that, it depends on the money. If the films keep making money, yes. If they don't, if the box office figures are going down by Avengers Doomsday, I think, yeah, as soon as Disney see there's no profit left, they'll stop it. But I think Marvel is likely to carry on for a bit, even if the movies are less frequent. The actual franchise will probably carry on in Disney Plus or something. I mean, Captain America: Brave New World, I think, is probably the lowest grossing one in quite some time at the moment. I'm watching all of The Simpsons on Disney. Yeah, well, there's so much to get through. It's pretty easy to watch a whole season of The Simpsons because each episode is like 20 minutes long. I don't really watch the first 2. I kind of start from season 3 because the animation quality is not bad, but it's it's rougher in the first two seasons, and they didn't really work out the Kings till season 3. But I don't watch beyond season 20, as I said earlier. I only watch seasons 3 to 10 mainly, but I watch some of 11 to 20. But after 20, I don't bother. Just the stories get worse as the animation gets better. But yeah. Oh, no, that's all right, Jermaine. No worries. You don't have to be a James Bond fan. There's people that aren't fans, but at least you respect what it's done for cinema. So no worries. To each their own. I have a ranking of every Bond movie based on their actor on your rankings when you ranked the movies after No Time to Die. Oh, okay, so you mean you've ranked each actor's set of films individually as well? Okay, cheers, Jared. I'll look at it when I'm off the stream. Favorite Han Solo moment online? Chewie, we're home. And also, I love you. I know. That bit is great. Do you think you can watch the new Captain America without seeing the previous ones? Possibly, but it will be harder to understand. I would encourage you to watch the other ones. They're all on Disney Plus. If you have time to watch them, that is. Right, probably will stay on a few more minutes. It's been on nearly an hour and a half, and then I'll call it there soon. But see how the questions go. How would you improve Return of the Jedi? Oh, I mean, I love Return of the Jedi as it is. I don't know, maybe cut down on some of the Jabba scenes. Maybe the Jabba stuff goes on a bit long, but I don't mind it, to be honest. Maybe make it more realistic that the Ewoks could beat the Stormtroopers in a fight, because that's the only thing of Return of the Jedi that doesn't really make sense, is how the little teddy bears with rocks and sticks can defeat the Stormtroopers who have guns and artillery. So it's a bit silly. Other than that, I love Return of the Jedi. So yeah, that's this chair isn't very comfortable. How do you feel about Yoda using a lightsaber? I mean, I'm cool with it. I just think that he shouldn't have used it in Attack of the Clones. I mean, even though it was cool to have the fight with Dooku, the Dooku and Yoda fight is pretty silly. It's sort of tacked on at the end unnecessarily. But Yoda fighting Sidious was awesome, and I think it should have just been saved until then, because it would have been more impactful as the first time he drew his lightsaber to face his equal on the dark side. That would have been better, but whatever. George chose to do it that way, so fine. Yeah, that is the best meme line for Anakin Skywalker. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. Oh, bad. Favorite Jackie Chan role? Oh, God, I've not seen many Jackie Chan films. I think he's in the Karate Kid, isn't he? Probably his role in that, in the first one. I think it's the first one. I'm very hazy on those films. I think I've only seen the first one. Oh yeah, A New Hope. The first half of it is a little bit slow, but it's not too bad. I mean, the setup more or less works for what George had intended. Considering how rough the production was, the story comes together quite well. George was very lucky. He struck gold with A New Hope. Seeing it again on the big screen when they re-released the Star Wars films was awesome. I have to say, I was very impressed by it. So yeah. Thoughts on Venom in Spider-Man 3? Mishandled, really. I mean, I like the fact that he's in it. I'm not going to lie, it's nice to see the most iconic villain in there, but it felt so shoehorned. Spider-Man 3, there's just too much going on, and that's the big problem. It tries to overreach itself. Topher Grace is okay as Eddie Brock. It just doesn't get much to do. And yeah, it becomes Venom too late in the day. But yeah, so having three villains, it just doesn't really work for a film. For a game, you can do that. You can flesh it out. Like the Insomniac Spider-Man games, the way they utilize the villains. Oh my god, amazing! I really mean that. And the first game, actually including like the Sinister Six, was amazing. It was so good, and you can give each of the villains more time because in a game you can draw things out because people will play bits of it and then go back to it. A film, you have to condense it to like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and hope that people will stay interested. But yeah, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 had three villains as well, so they never learned. Never mind. uh, Take care, Arabus. Favorite episode of Sherlock? Not a big fan of the show, to be honest. Don't even know if I've seen all three seasons. I think the first ever episode was probably one of my favorite ones. Yeah, he is overhated in Spider-Man 3. I don't think Venom's the worst thing about Spider-Man 3. It's definitely shoehorned in, but I just think Spider-Man 3 is overhated in general. It is a very messy movie, but it's enjoyable. I liked it for what it was, but it's easily the weakest of the trilogy. Sorry. Thoughts on the 2007 TMNT? Yes, I have seen this 2007 film. I think it's all right. You know, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. The story is very meat and potatoes, what you would expect, but it was pretty good. I didn't like Splinter's voice in it though. It's all right like this. Yeah, his voice was really weird. But other than that, it was good. Patrick Stewart was the villain, so yeah, the villain was weak. Actually, that was one of the things. Yeah, the villain was a bit crap, but the dynamic with the turtles was like it was okay. It definitely could have been better. It was more focused on Leonardo and Raphael. I kind of remember it more for the game. I had the PS2 game, so I might have to replay that at some point because the game was fun. Did you watch the Dracula series from 2020? No, sorry, I didn't see it. What's on? I'm going to put some dirt in your eye. Yeah, I love that line. It's so cheesy, but only Tobey Maguire could get away with saying it the way he said it. So, yeah. Van Helsing. Oh, I think I liked it. It's been many years since I've seen it. But if it's the one with Hugh Jackman you're talking about, it was entertaining. Yeah. The new Goblin and Sandman. Yeah, I mean, they're well acted. I think the Harry Osborn thing should have been the main thread of the film, considering that it was set up in the first two with him wanting to get revenge on his dad, but thinking Peter killed his father. The Sandman was again a nice emotional add to the story. They tried to tie it in, obviously, to the Uncle Ben thing, which worked, but there was such a lack of resolution. Sandman was probably the best developed of the three because with Harry Osborn they gave him amnesia and they forgot about him, and Venom was just kind of thrown in. So Sandman to me was the most emotionally complex of the three, and the scene when the birth of Sandman scene was beautiful. The whole film should have been more like that, but yeah, it's a shame. It was a bit of a waste of potential, but still, I still enjoy Spider-Man 3 for what it is. Thoughts on the emo dance? I mean, it's stupid, but I like the one where he's dancing down the street. It's kind of funny. But having Mary Jane and Harry make omelets and do the twist, and then the jazz club scene was probably a bit too self-indulgent and could have been removed. But the one where he's dancing down the street was kind of funny. So yeah. Single worst moment from Daniel Craig era of Bond. That's a good question. The worst moment. Ooh, I don't know actually. Thinking about it now. The worst moment. I mean, this is going to sound contradictory, but I'm going to say the opera scene in Quantum of Solace because I mean, the build up to it is fantastic, but the way it's edited, once Craig encounters Dominic Green and the men, he just kind of walks off, and then they start a gunfight, and then it's cutting back and forth between the opera and the gunfight, and there's not many sound effects, and you can't tell what's going on because the camera's shaking around so much. So yeah, that part was always a bit disappointing for me. And I like Quantum of Solace for what it is, but yeah, that is disappointing. Not played God of War, sorry. You've seen Predator film or the sequels? I saw the recent Predator one. Is it a reboot or like another the 2018 one? I didn't really like it, to be honest. Have you seen George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser? Yes. Not sure if I saw the second one, but the first one I did. It's kind of, from my memory, it was sort of lighthearted and silly, but in a good way. It was fun. Most shocking moment from the rebooted Planet of the Apes films? Probably when Cobra kills Ash. That is pretty hardcore. No, I haven't watched the interview, but I've heard about that one with Quentin Tarantino. How do you rank all the Craig Bond villains? Okay, I'm not going to go do the henchmen, just the main villains. So the worst one, number 5, was Dominic Green. That's probably the weakest. I would then go with Blofeld, Christoph Waltz. Even though I like Blofeld, he is number 4. Then I would go with Safin from No Time to Die. Then I would go with Le Chiffre from Casino Royale. Then Silva from Skyfall. Oh, excusez-moi. My ass. Oh, sorry about that. Right. Oh yeah, the kid was annoying. That film, he really was annoying. Man, 1989. It's been a while since I've seen it. I can't remember, to be honest. I need to watch the film again. Oh yeah, who played George of the Jungle in the sequel? It's a bit like the Inspector Gadget movies, where they had someone else play Gadget in the second one. I mean, the Inspector Gadget with Brendan Fraser, Matthew Broderick, was pretty awful. It was pretty rubbish. But there we are. Dolph Lundgren. Not seen much of his work, but enjoyed him in View to a Kill. Probably will finish up at 9:30. I think that'll be good enough time to end. So 10 more minutes, guys, and then finito. Yeah, I mean, Inspector Gadget 2 was worse, actually, than the first one. It was painful. Painful. But the first one was bad, but there was some fun moments. Like there was the moment where the Yahoo sign falls on the car. He goes, Yahoo! That's hilarious. Favorite Cillian Murphy performance? Ooh, good question. I like him in most of the films he's in. I probably will say Oppenheimer. I think that's definitely his standout performance so far. Has Die Another Day grown on you over the last few years? No, honestly, it hasn't. I'm sorry. There are individual moments that I like in it, but it's, for me, the worst James Bond film in my eyes, or one of the worst. I mean, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, it still is the worst. But who knows? Maybe, I mean, I might marathon the movies before Bond 26 comes out, and then maybe my opinion will change. But it's very unlikely with Die Another Day. I'd struggle to get through that one. Can you do an impression? Blaze the movie fan? Oh no, I don't think I can actually. I need to watch the clip again. I might do that next time. I'll do it next time because I can't remember how he sounds, and I need to watch the clip again. I'll do other impressions, but Blaze, I need time to get his accent. An Icelandic accent is a bit tricky for me. No worries, Jermaine. Thank you all very much. Which film is worse for you, Batman and Robin or Die Another Day? Probably Batman and Robin. I would say. Have you enjoyed Diamonds Are Forever more than you do now? No, I've always kind of found it the same, to be honest. I've always loved the song though. The song is amazing and the titles are great, but I've not enjoyed it any more than I just think it's very mediocre. Right. Yes, yeah, I thought you were doing an Indian accent, but maybe not. Thoughts on the 2002 Scooby Doo movie? Oh, it's cringe. It's very cringe. I mean, as a kid, I thought it was harmless, but it's just not the it's not the cartoons. And there are moments when the humor's really weird, and they also like, uh, yeah. I mean, I think the cast are really good, and I think that they did really well with the script. It's just the writing is awful. The mystery is terrible. The creatures were bad, but the cast were great, and they had a good dynamic. And I like the fact they tried to toughen up Daphne in the first one. She had a good character arc, so there was potential, but it was wasted. It's not a god awful film, but it's just very disappointing. And I think it was ruined when Scrappy Doo was the villain. To be honest, the sequel, Monsters Unleashed, was a little bit better. I'll say that it was a little bit better. Again, the writing and Raja Gosnell, not the best director, not the best writer. In which Moore's Bond outing did you see Connery starring? Again, I think either The Spy Who Loved Me or For Your Eyes Only. One of those two. Favorite music track from Primeval? Cretaceous Sea. Yeah. Other than like the Primeval theme itself, Cretaceous Sea. Okay. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You're making me want to watch Primeval now. I need to check actually if it's on ITVX. I don't have the DVDs no more. Or I could find the DVD and order it again. Favorite location from Roger Moore Bond tenure? Oh, I actually think India in Octopussy is one of my favorites. That's a great location. I've always loved that. I've never been to India myself. I think it would be too hot for me, but yeah, it does look beautiful. Favorite version of Spider-Man's suit in a film? The Tobey Maguire suit that he wears, like his main one, his red and blue one that he wears in the trilogy, the main one. Primeval. God, I miss Primeval. Annoyingly, it's not on ITVX, which is a shame. But it is on Prime Video. But you have to pay. Fuck off of your face. Oh well. I will just get the DVDs. It'd be much better. Anyway. Oh yes, Rio, yes. How'd you kill 5 hours in Rio if you don't samba? Favorite T-Rex design you've seen? Oh god. The T-Rex from Jurassic Park, the first one. Opinion on Calvin Dyson's updated ranking of the Bond films. Obviously, I don't agree with all of his choices, but they're his choices, and I think he justified himself very well. I think it's better than his previous one. He certainly put Spectre a bit higher, which made me happy. Well, a tad bit higher. But, I mean, to be fair, Calvin's very good at justifying himself. I think over the years he's gotten better at that, because I feel like when he started, he used to come across a little bit snobbish. And not conceited, but sometimes it felt like, oh wow, okay, this guy's very opinionated, which is good. But now I think he's a bit more diplomatic and maybe a bit more reasonable when it comes to his opinions, and he's more kind of, I think he's more cognizant of other people's differing views. Um, I think he seems more patient now, so I really like the guy. I think he's a really nice guy, so I hope he continues his channel. He's very popular, and he's earned his popularity. How do you rank the Transformers films so far? Okay, the bottom, I'm not sure how many films there are. I have to double check. The bottom is Age of Extinction. Don't like that film. The Last Night, or The Last Shite, some people call it. I would then choose Revenge of the Fallen. Then I would choose probably Rise of the Beasts. Then the first Transformers from Michael Bay. Then I would choose Transformers 1, and then Bumblebee. Well, Daniel, you say that, Daniel, but my uncle loves that film. It's his favorite James Bond film. He says that one is his first favorite. He loves that one. So you're not alone. And then I think followed by On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which obviously is the film that follows anyway. He says he loves that one as well, despite George Lazenby. Weakest Daniel Craig Bond song, Another Way to Die. Which Moore's Bond outing is the most appropriate as Sunday afternoon viewing? Mine is Moonraker. Yeah, actually, I probably would either go with that one or The Spy Who Loved Me. I mean, they're basically the same film. It's just one's in the water, one's in space. Moonraker probably is the one that you can turn your brain off the most to and just have fun. Yeah, Majesty's is genuinely fantastic. Favorite Moneypenny moment from the Craig era? Ooh, good question. I'm going to say the shaving scene in Skyfall, where she flies over to Macau just to shave him, which is good, and help him in the casino. And there's obviously some nice sexual tension there. Outside of that, it's nice to see her kicking some ass in the opening scene, which is great. Who would you like to do a Bond theme? I think I mentioned earlier Ariana Grande. I think would be a great choice, especially with Wicked having come out recently, and she's got some pipes on her. To be fair, another Q&A. Hello, the friend of us. Favorite video game of each console generation? Oh God, I mean, not much of a gamer. I don't know if I can answer that question. Well, the PS1, I didn't have that many games, so based on the ones I had, I really enjoyed my copy of Tarzan on PS1. It was the first game I ever had, so I have to say that. And then PS2, I'm going to say Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was addictive, that game. PS3, oh God. I guess I could say the first Last of Us. No, I'm going to say Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2, brilliant game. Then I'm going to say PS4, The Last of Us Remastered. PS5, oh God. I love Insomniac's Spider-Man. I think, they are fantastic games. Although The Last of Us 2 would sort of count for both PS4 and PS5. So I think The Last of Us duology for PS4, and yeah, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 for PS5. But again, I don't play that many games. I don't have that many, so one day in the future. Tarzan is unintentionally funny. Yeah, have you played it? There's moments where like you have to throw the fruit, and when you grab one of the letters of his name, he goes, "Got it!" It's great. And it's so much fun. But what I found unintentionally funny was playing Uncharted 2 with my sister one time, because she hadn't played the games yet. And she used to take the piss by killing Nate off whenever she wanted, and you hear that over dramatic music, and they're like, "No, Nate, no, oh no!" And they actually react to this death. Whereas in The Last of Us, you just hear the kind of whoosh sound, and then they go, "Oh," and they just sort of die without anyone reacting, which is funny. Intergalactic, yes, I will play it. Don't know what it's about. I'm guessing something in space. But, I will play it. I love Naughty Dog, so yeah, I would definitely give it a go. I really hope though that we do get The Last of Us Part 3, especially as the show, they want to extend the show to 4 seasons. So, I mean, if The Last of Us 2 is going to cover 2 seasons, or maybe it might cover 3, who knows? We'd need more content for another season. So yeah. Saddest moment from the Transformers films? Probably the death of Optimus Prime in Revenge of the Fallen. That was actually very well handled. Despite what people say about that film, it was handled. Have you played From Russia with Love on PS2? Yes, briefly. I've not finished it, but it was fun. It was similar to Everything or Nothing, but enjoyable and nice to have Sean Connery in it as well, the man himself. Yeah, even though he sounds a bit older, it's still nice to have him there. Mm. Oh. Right. Oh god, I'll extend a few more minutes. Why not? Yeah, I'm in a streaming mood this week. It's nice to just do videos where I get to interact with subscribers more often on a live stream. Whereas a lot of videos I do, I have to edit and upload and then read comments. But I kind of like the live spontaneity. It's nice. The stream of us. Thoughts on the ending of Deathly Hallows Part 2? Very satisfying, I think. I would have liked a longer ending, I think, to wrap up more of the characters after the battle. A bit like a Return of the King style epilogue. Maybe not as long as that, but in a similar style, maybe. Showing a bit more of the aftermath of the battle before cutting to the epilogue. But overall, it did hit the right emotions, and I never forget when I first saw the film in 2011, and it faded to black for the last time. People got up and cheered. It was, and that was just on my local cinema. And then people just got up and applauded it. It was, you don't get those moments often with a film. It was very special. What do you think the meaning of life is? Joel Miller. I'm joking. No fucking idea, man. Hopefully, meaning of life just to work hard, be happy, obviously be sad as well, take what comes with it, and have interactions with people, have family, friends. I don't know if there's really a way to sum it up. To find some purpose of existence, we all have a calling somewhere. Sometimes it just takes a while to find it. Dr. Robotnik will return in Sonic 4. Maybe. I don't think he should return as prominently. I mean, maybe more in a flashback. I think it might be nice to have a different character come in. I know that they've got plans for other iconic Sonic characters to appear, so we shall see. I don't think he will. If he does come back, I don't think he'll be in it as much, given who they teased at the end of Sonic 3. Good as well as bad. So, yeah. From Russia with Love. I'm guessing the making From Russia with Love thing was maybe a nostalgia thing to keep fans interested in the series. As a new Bond was coming the next year, they wanted to probably, keep people interested while waiting for Casino Royale. Or maybe it was the license. They just got the license to the story and they thought, well, while Sean Connery's still around, let's see if we can sell this with the original guy that was in the movie. And that's what they did. So, see you later, Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. Favorite Thanos moment? Enough said. Okay, I'll be serious. So other than that, I think that the scene where he actually kills his own daughter, I know she's not his, but she's adopted. Gamora's adopted, but the scene, because we already saw how they met and how he lured her in, and they had this very uneasy dynamic with their relationship. But the fact that he proved he did love her when he threw her over the edge to save the universe. In his eyes, he thought he was doing it to sort of even out the uh, the resources of the world, and he felt like the world was oversaturated. Half the universe needed to go in order to sort of balance everything out. Um, and in doing so, obviously, he had to trade his daughter for the stone. But the great tragedy is she thought that's it. He's lost because he doesn't love me. Little did she know he did love her. He just maybe didn't show it very well. And that's one of my favorite scenes of the whole MCU and the Avengers. Like, it proves that they can write really emotional, compelling scenes with characters. They just sometimes they get lost in their other movies and then the humor and all of that. But that moment was genuinely powerful. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, he does actually love her, and then he kills her. It's yeah, it's gripping stuff, and the music that went with that was powerful, and then it showed that he wasn't without empathy. That's what makes him a very interesting villain. He could be empathic. Thoughts on the decision to kill off Craig's Bond? Um, at first, before I saw No Time to Die, I was against it, and I thought this ain't gonna work. This is gonna be too sour to end on. It's gonna be depressing. I don't know. And then I saw the film, and my mind was totally changed. I thought that was handled so well. That was handled as sensitively as it could, and it moved me to tears. I thought, oh my god, I've come round to this. And then when I thought about it on reflection, I thought, actually, he's retired so many times, and he died in a blaze of glory, and he died saving the world, and he died saving his wife and daughter. So he hasn't died losing his status, losing his legacy. It sucks that he dies, but at the same time, I thought they couldn't have done it in a more beautiful way. And I know it was going to piss people off. Of course it would. But maybe it was, I think the one Bond who could get away with it was Craig, because his films have been more emotionally driven. And it's a self-contained timeline. And when I thought about it, and I thought, actually, from a timeline point of view, it doesn't matter if you kill him, because you can just restart again in the new timeline, which is obviously what they were going to do. So there's a chance to literally press the full stop button and go again with Bomb 26. The more I watch it over time, the more I think, actually, it feels right. I don't know, something about it feels right to me. If you don't like it, if no one else likes it, I totally respect that. Not here to change people's minds. My view of it is, as even though he's my favorite Bond, and I was cautious about that direction, it was powerfully done, and the music that went with it is enough to move me to tears. So yeah, I mean, is No Time to Die the best Bond film? No, there's probably other ones that are better, but what a powerful way to go out. It's a brave decision. You know you're going to get backlash, but they were brave and they stuck to it, and they wrote it in the best way possible. It's not going to work for everybody, but you know, Craig is the first Bond really who has had an exit crafted for him. They knew it was his last one going in. As the other ones, it's sort of been like they don't really know when it's their last one. Sometimes they won't know till after the film is released, so it doesn't feel final. But yeah, it's sad to see him go out like that. There's a part of me that obviously would love to have seen him have a family and live his retirement out, but no, he's tried that before, and James Bond can never have a family. But it was cute they gave him a daughter, though. That was nice. What would you like to see Thanos erase for existence? I'd love to see him erase Donald Trump, for one thing. I think, more than anyone, Donald Trump should have been blipped out of existence. How For Your Eyes Only would have been made earlier if it was intended to. Might have been more campy. Might not have been quite as. I mean, not that it isn't camp. I mean, it certainly has its light-hearted moments, but I think it would have been less. Yeah, it would have been more light-hearted, I think, more on the sillier side than some most bland aspect of tenure as Bond. Uh, Most bland aspect. Hmm. Trying to think actually. Hmm. I guess the fact that maybe not all of his films have emotional stakes. Some of them have a few moments, but it does make his films feel more just like repetitive sort of fun action romps. I would have liked a bit more emotional substance, maybe. I guess. Should Hans Zimmer come back for the next Bond film, or should they get someone else? Either or, I'm happy either way. Favorite Batman Arkham game? Arkham City, easily. Thoughts on the ending of The Dark Knight Rises? I personally think it's beautiful, and I think it wraps up very nicely. And it didn't need another one. I think that Nolan tells a very good story in 3 parts. The trilogy works as one massive story, and yeah, again, beautifully done, emotionally satisfying. I know The Dark Knight is better, but I still think the third one really did its best to wrap up everything well. Which Bond era overall has your favorite villains? Well, Craig obviously has some of my favorite villains, but I think, God, it's got to be a mixture, hasn't there? Connery obviously has some good villains as well. I might have to say Craig, actually. I think Craig has had the most consistently good villains. Not saying they've all been perfect, but yeah, I think I'll go with Daniel Craig. Actually, George Lazenby, even though it's only the one film. Telly Savalas is a good Blofeld. Are there any movies you'd like Thanos to erase from existence? Twilight, 50 Shades, Food Fight. And that's just to start with. Favorite Sean Connery role that isn't Bond? His role in Indiana Jones was good. I'd say that's one of my favorites. Have you seen the Fourth Protocol starring Pierce Brosnan and Michael Caine? No, I haven't seen it. Sorry. She's my dear, my darling one. But Pierce Brosnan was in Mamma Mia. Oh boy, that was fun. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? Ooh. Favorite scene from Joker? Been a while since I've seen it, but I think the scene with Robert De Niro on the talk show was. I mean, it's quite a sad film, really. But that was probably one of my favorite scenes that I remember. Favorite Pierce Brosnan performance outside of Bond? Probably Mrs. Doubtfire. Either that or Dante's Peak. He's good in that. Dante's Peak was a fun movie. But yeah, I like him in Mrs. Doubtfire. It's on the stairs dance scene in Joker. From what I remember, I enjoyed it. Which Star Wars film is your favorite soundtrack? Ooh, that's good. I think it might be either The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, or Revenge of the Sith. Can't really decide because I mean they all sound quite similar in a lot of ways. And then the Phantom Menace obviously is Duel of the Fates. Oh God, I don't know. I might say Revenge of the Sith actually. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it there. It's been 2 hours now, but okay, one more. Do you prefer the stair dance scene in Joker or the emo dance scene in Spider-Man? I actually prefer the one in Spider-Man. It's funnier. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for coming on and asking me questions. It's been fun, but I do have to go now and call it a night. It's been on for 2 hours now. But thank you very much. I'll see you next time. I'm Page X Perspective, even. See ya. Bye for now.